Welcome to another episode of the Golden Moment podcast. My name's Mijo Biscan, and this episode is called the Songwriting Dojo. So in the last episode, we explored the idea of high intention, low attachment. That's a high level ninja creative mode to enter. In this episode, I'll share with you my songwriting practice and why it has little to do with songwriting and something more to do with being a dojo where I go to face myself. So songwriting can be blissful, there's no doubt about that. Entering through the veil of a creative world and swimming through hundreds of images and colors in order to convey an idea or a story is indeed magical. Unfortunately, it can take quite a bit of setting up to get to that place. Like overseas travel on an exciting trip, there's a lot of packing, prepping, waiting at the airport, waiting in lines, going through customs, being distracted by the duty-free shop, more waiting, boarding, waiting, taking off, exciting. And if you're traveling from Australia to anywhere in the world, more waiting. And then the fun begins. There's a lot that leads up to that thing happening. So songwriting has something in common with the battlefield that we might not expect. So it's been described about wartime that war is 99% boredom and 1% sheer terror. Songwriting has a comparable ratio, except we can replace the word terror with creative bliss. But it's only such a small part of it, so why would anyone continue doing it? So firstly, the 1% of creative bliss is worth it. There's nothing like reaching into the void and creating something from nothing. That creative power is intoxicating. But how else does one make it through the other 99%? So what I've come to realize is that it's been important to have a different context for what my songwriting is, giving it a different meaning in order for me to show up to it when it's difficult and get through that 99% to get to that 1% of creative bliss. And the way I think about my songwriting practice has little to do with songs and more to do with being the battleground where I go to face myself. So within my arts practice, I encounter all of my flaws, doubts, insecurities, comparisons to others, not being good enough, tempted to quit, tempted to sell out, tempted to plagiarize, being confronted by my inner critic and my inner demons, fighting my tendency of being a distracted person, my lack of discipline, my avoidance of taking responsibility for my results, my fears of failure, facing my untrusting self and the plethora of other flaws that could fill many pages. So you might think that that kind of sounds painful and idiotic. And you might be right, but I'm not sure why I continue to be drawn to doing it. So I've always wanted to become a better version of myself. It's something I've always been interested in. I want to actualize my human potential. Thinking about human potential is, for me, one of the most exciting ideas and concepts, knowing that in each person there's a slightly more refined, more powerful version of that person. I really believe that. And I know that the gains that I make in my songwriting dojo, they always transfer to other parts of my life. So when I'm feeling more confident in the studio, I'm better outside of the studio. When I'm practicing high intention, low attachment consistently in the studio, I apply it to when I go running. When I overcome a doubt about being good enough in the studio, I walk through the world with my chin a few degrees higher. When I overcome a fear of expressing something in the studio, I'm able to more vulnerably share myself with the world. So when I think of a creative practice, an arts practice, I really think of it as a being practice. In order to tap into creative flow and express myself really well, I have to be in the state of my best self for that to sort of come through consistently. So it relates to why people climb mountains, why they sail the wild open seas, or they dive deep into deep ocean caves. There's something to be found. There's more to explore. So when they face the mountain, they're facing themselves. They're facing their fear. They're facing their insecurity. They're facing that voice in their mind that says, this is dangerous, you should stop. And they transcend that. They go beyond that to find a stronger, more powerful part of themselves. So with that win, when they experience that win, they're gifted a prize to re-enter the world that changes them forever. And my journey is through the inner landscape of my mind. There are many mountains, valleys, seas, and caves that are so far left unseen. And I want to see them. I want to conquer them in order to conquer myself and bring those prizes into the world for others to experience. That's why my songwriting dojo exists. So thanks for tuning in. Hope you found this idea interesting. Hope it applies to you somehow in your life. If you like this episode, please give it a thumbs up or like it, give it your best rating or write a review on iTunes or Stitcher. Share it with a friend, post it on social media with your insights, and leave me a comment below. Doing any of those things really helps the podcast reach more music lovers, so thank you very much. To get a free download of 5 of my best songs, you can head to mijobiscan.com/free music. To get a limited edition personalized and signed CD of my latest album, Golden Moment, which comes with an instant download of the digital album as well as the artwork and lyric booklet, you can visit mijobiscan.com/GMCD. Thanks for listening. Stay golden. See you in the next episode, and bye for now.